On the 22nd of May 2019, one of the most controversial death battle videos came out, with a sizable amount of heated debate coming as a result. You could tell a lot of people agreed with the outcome, however you could very clearly see in the comments and very popular videos at the time that a lot more people seemed to disagree with the outcome, and at the time I also heavily disagreed with the outcome too. However, after a bit more in-depth research on my end, I came to realise that it's much closer than you might think. So why not? Let's head back to 2019 and talk about one of the most toxic debates out there, Ben Tennyson versus Hal Jordan Green Lantern. If you're going to enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below about your opinions on the matchup, and I ask you to hear out my points rather than going to the comment section and just saying, Ben 10 wins. And so without further ado, I'll start talking about Green Lantern's power and durability to explain to the doubters why it's actually a close debate. When it comes to power, the common feat is brought up for Hal is scaling to another Green Lantern named Kyle Rayner, who is capable of holding back the Big Bang. However, he's much more powerful than this, as he was capable of outright damaging and scales to Superman in pre-Crisis. Superman at this time was capable of bringing back all of the timelines that the Time Trapper erased, the Time Trapper who was able to destroy all time throughout a multiverse. The pre-Crisis Superman could also beat up Maldor with great effort, who at that point had grown so large that he threatened all of existence. This then brings into question if Superman, and by extension Hal Jordan, is able to destroy multiverses, or possibly even just makes them outerversal due to the whole threatening all of existence feat. However, this could just be hyperbole, just to hype up how powerful Maldor is, but considering the consistent multiversal feats that Hal has, it's not too out of the question. For example, Hal is able to scare Parallax shitless just through his pure aura alone. This is the same character who, if Zero Hour, could have caused destruction on a similar scale to the Crisis on Infinite Earths. He was even able to take some energy from the Anti-Monitor, and we don't know how much that they took from the Anti-Monitor, but considering the Anti-Monitor at this point was capable of destroying infinite universes via the antimatter wave, again, it's just more multiversal feats added on top of it. You could also say that, well, Nuzley, how can you say characters like pre-Crisis Superman are multiversal when they get knocked out by moons and struggle to hold up black holes? Well, not only is pre-Crisis Superman not post-Crisis Superman, which is the version of the Superman that is being referred to in these feats, but these contradictions aren't exclusive to Superman. They happen all across fiction, but if you think that Superman's moon level and can't scale any higher and how Jordan scales to that, then there's zero discussion about this, debate here, and Ben 10 would win. But obviously, I think that Hal Jordan at least scales to multiversal and possibly outerversal if you want to highball him. Going on to Hal Jordan's speed, and he was outright able to effortlessly cross light years shortly and traverse the entire universe, moving at a speed equal to 87.6 quadrillion times faster than light. As we said, he was also able to keep up with pre-Crisis Superman, who was so fast he could fly through the time barrier and go back millions of years in the past on a whim, basically meaning that he has infinite to immeasurable speed. When it comes to Ben Tennyson's feats of strength and durability, there are a large range of feats that the aliens have performed, being powerful enough to destroy large buildings, to entire planets, to even the universe and multiverse itself. For example, Waybig scales to Evil Waybig, who destroyed Proxima Centauri B with the power equal to 203.55 nenatons of TNT, or enough to destroy entire dwarf stars. Keep in mind that Waybig is often considered one of Ben's strongest aliens. Of course, it doesn't even come close to the top 3, but the fact that we know that he's up there, it means that pretty much all of Ben's aliens wouldn't be able to physically harm Hal Jordan whatsoever. Even characters like Upchuck, who were able to digest the sub-energy which would blow away continents off the face of the Earth and was stated 20 times more powerful than our sun, wouldn't do anything comparing it to even a universe, much less a multiverse. It's literally nothing. Of course, we get to the abilities of Ben's aliens later and how master control works, but in terms of strength and durability, almost all of his aliens are irrelevant. His strongest known, preface I said known, aliens consist of Feedback, Clockwork, and Alien X. Feedback was powerful enough to absorb all the energy detonated from the Annihilarch, which releases enough energy to destroy and create an entire universe. Basically meaning that Feedback here would be universal to universal plus. And while that's very impressive, when I'm being like super literal when I say this, Feedback would be infinitely weaker than Hal Jordan's multiversal scaling bare minimum. The two strongest aliens are really the only ones that could do anything. Clockwork was powerful enough to absorb the Chronosapien time bomb, which was stated capable of wiping out all known timelines in the multiverse, consisting of hundreds of timelines which branch off, according to Professor Paradox, which basically means the Paradox abilities should be able to actually do something to Hal. You can make the argument that Clockwork was only able to do this through their abilities and not through like raw power, seeing that Clockwork's whole thing has been able to manipulate time. However, even then, it would still at least give them multiversal range. When it comes to Alien X, his feats are much more concrete. His most infamous feat is being able to recreate a universe easily. However, of course, he scales far above that. You see, Alien X belongs to a species called the Celestial Sapiens. The Celestial Sapiens are capable of canonically changing the art styles, voices, and basically the entire appearance of the Ben 10 verse, which contains a multiverse, obviously. And when using a small portion of his power, he's able to perform a feat that even the Cosmelia didn't think were possible. These same beings are stated to have 5-dimensional existence. Now, you can argue that the Cosmelia were basically just surprised that Alien X is able to perform the feat, rather than actually surpassing their power and abilities, but I mean, that's an entirely different debate. Arguably, the piece of Alien X lore that could put Alien X even higher is the fact that Celestial Sapiens are born in a higher realm than the multiverse, which some people have tried to say that this makes Alien X outerversal, but it makes more sense to have him a complex multiversal with this logic. The counterpoint to this is, of course, that Alien X just being born there doesn't inherently mean anything when it comes to physical power. Of course, if he destroyed the realm along with the multiverse in one go, that would 100% be a complex multiversal feat. However, all we have, he was just born there. If you want to highball Alien X a complex multiversal, that's fine, but keep in mind if you highball Alien X, it's only fair to do the same to Hal Jordan, else it just comes off as favouring one side more than the other. I think that before we go on to the abilities of Ben's aliens, I think we should probably go through Hal Jordan's powers to see if Ben's aliens would even be able to do anything to Hal. For starters, Hal Jordan has the power to travel through space. He can teleport and time travel and has supernatural willpower. He can manipulate and absorb energy and life energy. He can create weapons and manipulate matter. He has telepathy, dimensional travel. He can heal himself. He can slow down time, can create automatic force fields. He has intangibility, hacking, information analysis, and limited spatial manipulation through being able to create portals through space and time. He even created a portal for the antimatter universe and as a result has BFR. He can turn himself invisible, he can create illusions, he can duplicate himself, he can summon other Green Lanterns to him. He has memory manipulation, limited ice manipulation, power bestowal and heat manipulation. He has fire manipulation, air manipulation, sound manipulation, astral projection and body control. He can even interact with things that are intangible, being able to absorb a Guardian's astral projection. He can even seal people away. He has creation and wood manipulation. He has water manipulation, mind control, technological manipulation, biological manipulation. He can mimic powers and can manipulate light. He has fear manipulation. He has absolute zero via his creations. He has transmutation by turning incoming attacks into confetti or someone into a bird. He has size manipulation, acid manipulation, magnetism manipulation. He can paralyze people in place. He can create vibrations. He has weather manipulation, transformation, and can even erase memories. He can also nullify the powers of other people too. He can create explosions. He can make someone rapidly age. He can create homing attacks. He can translate all alien languages, manipulate metal, electricity, and gravity. He can also create afterimages, breathe underwater, and can make shields that can reflect projectiles. He can use radio waves to essentially scan out an area. He can manipulate cloth and darkness. He can deconstruct people and is a martial artist. For some of his resistances, he has limited resistance to ice manipulation. He has resistance to mind control, can resist fear manipulation and transmutation. He can't be possessed, and he can see through illusions. The ring also protects him from antiparticles and resistance to biological manipulation. Going into Ben's aliens, you've pretty much got like the basic characters like Forearms and Ripjaws, who basically don't really have any abilities, or specific ones at least. You then have Cannonbolt, who can reflect attacks, Ghost Freak, who can turn invisible and tangible and can possess people, and has transmutation and can destroy souls. Heat Blast and Swampfire can manipulate fire. Many of Ben's aliens have regeneration, such as Snarrow, Upgrade, and Goop. Brainstorm has telekinesis and telepathy. Ditto and Echo can create duplicates of themselves and can even transform themselves into Ben and can create a bunch of other individual aliens, therefore meaning that he could say fight as Clockwork and Feedback at the same time. Clockwork can manipulate time via time travel, speeding it up, slowing it down, reversing time and stopping time, along with retrocognition. Eye Guy can manipulate electricity, ice and fire. Wildvine can manipulate plants and vines. Upgrade has the ability to hack into technology, and as several of Ben's aliens have like a stupid level of IQ as well. Many characters such as Echo can create force fields. Lodestar has magnetism manipulation, and Terraspin has air manipulation. There is also Water Hazard, who can manipulate, well, water. The vast majority of Ben's aliens can fly and have inorganic physiology. Ito has solid matter indigestion, energy manipulation and projection. A few other aliens have light manipulation, radiation manipulation, sleep inducement, explosion manipulation, acid manipulation, heat manipulation, camouflage, vibration manipulation, weapons mastery, weapons creation, magma manipulation, mind manipulation, corruption, fear manipulation, dream manipulation, and they all pretty much have resistances to all the abilities we've brought up. It's also notable to bring up that there are tons of aliens that Ben hasn't used, so therefore there are likely even more abilities that we don't know of. All of this before I even bring up Alien X, who can grow in size, can fly, warp reality, has creation, he can create force fields, he has telekinesis, duplication, space-time manipulation, he can control pocket realities, he has mind manipulation, can create galaxy-sized black holes, can erase people from existence within a blink of an eye, he can regenerate, he has biological manipulation, body control, is skilled in hand-to-hand combat, has cosmic awareness, can teleport, can summon things to him, can open portals, has information analysis, can travel in between dimensions, has fire manipulation, law manipulation, life manipulation, nigh omniscience, which means he basically knows everything there is to know. It's also important to bring up of Master Control and its failsafe of the Omnitrix. Master Control allows Ben to transform into whatever alien Ben wants with just a thought, and doesn't even need to make contact with his watch in order to transform. The failsafe basically transforms Ben into any alien he needs to survive, being able to react faster than Ben can himself. This can be a bit of a bad thing though, as we'll soon get to. As to how their abilities clash, Hal Jordan can resist a ton of abilities aliens have. For example, Hal's shown capable of staying alive despite being frozen solid, so characters like Big Chill's ice wouldn't be much of an issue. While Ghost Freak can turn intangible and has access to transmutation, Hal can attack characters that are intangible and is outright fought back from being transformed into a Guardian. Clockwork being able to slow down and even stop time is meaningless due to Hal scaling to characters who can move beyond time itself. Echo and Atomix's force fields are useless due to Hal being able to phase through things. Alien X's biological manipulation would prove useless as he's resisted that too. However, by the same note, many aliens have abilities that Hal hasn't shown resistance to as well. For example, Alien X's existence erasure and law manipulation is something that Hal hasn't come up against. While Hal can turn himself invisible, he hasn't had reliable ways of taking out someone else who is invisible themselves. And while Hal can resist mind control and mind manipulation, Gurod has the ability to alter and manipulate memories, which is a bit different and can prove useful in a fight. However, there does prove a weakness of Ben only being able to use one alien at a time, and all the while Green Lantern has access to all of his powers at once. Yes, Master Control can turn Ben into whatever alien he wants in a thought, but it brings into question as to how fast Ben can think in order to counter Hal's powers. Considering he couldn't even react fast enough to catch the Big Bang, and the Omnitrix had to do it themselves, then realistically, his like speed or like way to comprehend things should be as fast as that. The unfortunate piece of info that people seem to overlook is the speed of the Big Bang itself. The speed of the Big Bang is like only light speed, and considering many of Ben's aliens are able to reach the relativistic 2 speed of light ranges in combat, it's kind of pathetic if you think about it. And even if somehow the Omnitrix's failsafe was trillions and billions of times faster than Ben's aliens, HAL would still be faster. Except for Alien X. Alien X was stated to be beyond the concept of time too, therefore meaning that he should be able to keep up with Hal Jordan. The only thing is that Alien X hasn't shown resistances to the things that other aliens have. For example, there's no example or implication that Alien X can resist mind control, however Vampire can resist mind control. The only issue this creates is that, Vampire is literally infinitely slower than Hal, and Hal can just kill Vampire before the Omnitrix could turn him back into Alien X. The failsafe would eventually react to turn Ben into the alien he needs to survive, but that alien would then just get one shot. The fact that 99% of Ben's aliens are much slower than Hal rules out the win conditions such as Upgrade taking over Hal's ring and destroying it from the inside, or Big Chill turning intangible, going inside of Hal and then turning into something like Diamond Head, which wouldn't even work, let alone the speed gap. Therefore only means that the only alien that can realistically do anything to Hal is therefore Alien X, which you may have expected, but I've seen arguments that Ben could beat Hal without Alien X, which realistically would only work if Hal just let it happen. You can also make an argument that the Green Lantern could hack into the Omnitrix. Due to the complexity of the AI, you can argue he wouldn't be able to, however, considering Ben and Kevin have in the past, I wouldn't be too dismissive about it happening. So as we established, we have Alien X and Hal Jordan around the same level of power and speed, and therefore, physically they can match each other, so it really comes down to their abilities, or really just how much you want to highball them. So how do their abilities clash? You could say that Alien X just erases Hal Jordan from existence faster than Hal Jordan can blink, GG. However, the speed of a person blinking is extremely slow compared to Hal and Alien X's speed, so while it is another win condition, it is unlikely. Alien X's force fields will prove useless due to Hal's intangibility, as we said. Hal can resist Alien X's biological manipulation too. It's also important to bring up, while Hal can create clones, so can Alien X, ruling out the opportunity, or rather way of one of them overwhelming the other, since the rest of them can just, create clones. Hal can turn invisible and attack Alien X that way, and while yes, Alien X hasn't really fought anyone who is invisible to my knowledge, he does have cosmic awareness and can warp reality, basically proving that to be useless. Speaking of which, probably Alien X's best win condition is for him to use his reality warping and telekinesis to just take off Hal's ring. It is a bit situational, but it possibly could happen. There's also the fact that Alien X's mind manipulation wouldn't work on Hal either, and well, yes, Alien X can open portals, teleport, and travel between dimensions, so can Hal. Alien X could place Hal in the time loop, however, due to Hal's illusion creation and ability to nullify powers, you could just say he nullifies Alien X's abilities and just wins that way. He could even reflect Alien X's attacks back onto Alien X. It's also important to note that Hal's got physically just more abilities than Alien X, meaning he can put Alien X in the back foot simply just by being more versatile. Alien X has also never had to deal with transmutation. You could say he's way too powerful to be affected by transmutation, but that literally does not make any sense. Transmutation isn't related to power. There isn't any evidence to suggest that Hal couldn't just turn Alien X into a bird or change his attacks into confetti. You could also argue that Hal could control Alien X's mind, however, due to Alien X being much more intelligent than Hal and being able to control minds himself, you can argue he'd know how to resist it, although it is a bit of headcanon. I have seen some people say that Hal could just go back in time and kill Ben at the start of the battle, however Alien X could just follow him back due to the Soda Bro effect, which is basically, when you boil it down, a way of Alien X knowing that Hal's going back in time. Hal could seal Alien X away, but Alien X could just escape via his portal creation and dimensional travel. You could say, well, if we highball Alien X, he's stronger than Hal and would just beat the shit out of him. And while that's true, you can say the exact same for Hal. In fact, if you take outer versal Hal, he beats any form of Alien X quite easily. I've seen some older arguments that Alien X is omnipotent, and he's not. The fact that there is any character in Ben 10 that can even contest Alien X proves that he isn't. Hal can even summon the other lanterns to him to help out, though that's technically outside help. It's also important to note that the lantern ring can run out of time, but while that is a way that Ben can win, since the Omnitrix doesn't really have that, or at least that short of a lifespan, it's not like the fight is going to last for hours and hours and hours, especially when you consider how fast these people are. But Alien X would basically just have to play defense, use his clone to just run the timer down until the end, which, again, given their ridiculous speed and Hal being able to create clones of himself too, it doesn't seem likely. Especially when you consider that Alien X wouldn't really know to run it down. He would essentially just have to, assume that from the beginning. All in all, Alien X can beat Hal Jordan. However, there are simply way more win conditions for Hal. They're simply just more likely to happen than Alien X winning. This doesn't even bring into account of just Hal killing Ben before he transforms into Alien X, as well, by the way. Ben can win, but Hal is just far more likely to, and again, this doesn't even take into account if you scale Hal to even higher levels above multiversal. So, in my personal opinion, Hal's more likely to win. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment below your opinions on the matchup, and just a closing note, did you know that Dr. Manhattan, a nigh all-knowing being with outer versal power, retrocognition, precognition, and time travel, said he didn't know what the Lantern Ring was and found it difficult to effect, and yet Hal is able to wield it masterfully? I'll let you guys chew on that one, and I'll see you in the next video.
Done, huh?